Hey, hi everybody. Happy Friday. I am happy to be here with everyone. And today I have Jackie Melinger with us, and she is the owner of My Personal Bookkeeper. And this is a service I'm sure lots of us would be interested in using. So, Jackie, tell us all about My Personal Bookkeeper.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be chatting with you today and happy almost Valentine's Day.
Yes, almost.
Yes. Um, I've been in business for almost 20 years, operating a senior care business called Home Instead. And over the years, we knew of this business, the Sprout Advocate Group, and we thought it was such a great idea. And so we ended up purchasing the Sprout Advocate Group 2.5 years ago, and we renamed it My Personal Bookkeeper. We've kept the flavor of the Sprout Advocate Group. We've kept a lot of the same people working for us, and we now have 13 client advocates who work for the company.
Wow,
Yeah,
13, a
yeah,
lot.
and they all have different backgrounds and skill sets and personalities, which I think is so important because not every client is the same, and not everybody needs the same skill set. And certainly, we want to make sure we have a good match in personality. So we help people with home financial organization. We help them review their mail, pay their bills, get their files organized, whether it's a paper filing system or a digital filing system. We help them review their credit card statements to make sure that there's no erroneous charges or no fraud going on, which is super important, especially these days. And
Yeah.
we help them with their medical claims and insurance benefits.
Oh, you do. You do that as well.
Yeah. And that's, if you have a procedure, if you go to the hospital for some reason, you will get like 300 pieces of paper in the mail. So it can get really confusing and you don't know what's been paid and what you owe. So it's helpful to have someone who has experience.
Absolutely. I got a thing in the mail that I had surgery such and such a day. I have not had any surgery. So I don't know what this was, but it's the kind of thing that especially an older person might,
They might just pay it.
yeah, they might pay it. They may have no idea. They may get panicked.
Absolutely. Panic is really dangerous. And a lot of times older people get panicked. And sometimes they don't want to ask their family members for help because they're embarrassed.
Yeah.
And they don't want their kids to say, you know what, I have to take over for you. They want to remain independent.
That's really a good point. I mean, I'm just going to, with what I do, I have a lot of family dynamics going on as well. And I think by hiring you guys, that does keep the independence, and then you're not a burden to your children. Some people might think, I don't want my kids to have to worry about this, and I'm calling them all the time. And you can keep the nice parent-child relationship and then have somebody you pay that just does what they're supposed to do and doesn't get emotionally involved in what they're seeing either.
Exactly. Because you want to stay the adult here. You don't want to start feeling like your kids are in charge of you. And people know their kids are really busy too, and they don't want
Right.
to burden them as you
Yeah.
said. So, and it feels better to know you've hired somebody that is a professional helping you than to just have your son or daughter take over.
Right. Right. I could see that, because then I could see that my mom is gone now, but it would be like, can you do this? Can you do that? And it's like, you don't want to do that. So
Right. Exactly.
this is great.
Exactly. And with older people, and we don't just help older people, but I'll talk about the younger clients too. But with older people, they get everything still in paper. A lot of them are very resistant to going electronic or maybe don't have computer skills. So, when I look at my mail, it's all junk.
Right.
I get anything important electronically. They get so much junk mail and it looks so real that
Yeah.
they aren't quite sure what to do with it. So, but they end up becoming paper hoarders because they say,
Yes.
I'll get back to this later. I have to reread it, and it goes into a pile, and before you know it, there's stacks, and they just aren't sure what to do with it. And
That is a really, really good point I haven't thought about, because I'm not in that world, but I could see where it's overwhelming.
it is overwhelming. It really is, and they're so scared they're going to miss something, and then they end up missing the important things because it gets lost in with all the junk. Um,
Yeah.
and then I've heard from people where we get started with them and they are so upset. I've never paid a bill late in my life. I've never paid a late fee, and now all I have are late fees.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
And the other thing is that seniors are ripe for fraud and scam. And even if, with my mom, they Medicare was billing for things she never, somebody was billing for things she never received. And
right,
she'd get this thing like, I don't have this. So
mhm,
it was Medicare fraud.
right,
And most seniors don't pick up on that.
right,
And that's costing all of us
right.
citizens.
Listen, there are people out there who this is how they make their money, by scamming people, and they are slowly building files on people over time. So maybe one time in a phone call, they get a hold of your date of birth. Another
Hmm.
time, they call you and say they're from Social Security and they get your Social Security number. Another time, you post something and now they have your address, and slowly they
Right.
file and now they have your identity. So you have to be really, really careful. I actually put a public service announcement on Facebook last week, and there was an AARP article not to share your COVID vaccination card on social media because it has your date of birth, your name, it might have your medical number, and it has your vaccination number. So if
Right.
you put it on after your first vaccination, somebody can replicate that card and go get your second vaccination,
Yeah.
and they're you.
That's,
Not always checking identification when you get your vaccination.
yeah. You need just one of those stickers that said, I'm vaccinated, like I voted. Doesn't tell you who you voted for.
Mhm. Right,
Just, they get a Band Aid that
right,
says,
exactly, and
I got vaccinated.
I'm happy you got that vaccination.
That's right. I got a Snoopy right here.
It's just like
How, yeah. And who thinks, like, if you don't think like a criminal, who's thinking this like this?
it's really hard. So not everyone reads up on it the way I do. This is
Right.
do. I read up on these things. I get notifications about new happenings. So it's good to have some professionals in your life who
Absolutely. And with the COVID thing, like people were posting because they wanted people to know they supported the vaccine, they have the vaccine, encouraging people to get them. So they did it from a place of caring and love, but then they're going to be
right. Who would have thought that you can
right,
post your card, you know?
right,
These things happen to people of all ages. So another
right.
really big thing that's happening now is an unemployment scam. Somehow, and it's happening to, I know an attorney who specializes in frauds and identity theft who it happened to. It happened to my husband. Somebody filed an unemployment claim in their name. And all of a sudden, your place of employment finds out that you filed an unemployment claim. Well, if your place of employment is keeping track of all of that, they might let you know and can fight it. But we're not exactly sure what the scam is yet. We think that they're getting your
Closer.
benefits eventually, like that. Because what happened was my husband got the card in the mail, the debit card from unemployment, like he was approved, and he's working. He owns the company.
Right.
Um, then we think that maybe somebody was going to call and have the bank account changed for the benefits.
Oh my God.
But it is happening everywhere. I hear it so much, and that's happening to people of all ages. And we actually have a client who's a widow. She's young in her 50s, and she just got an unemployment claim on her husband, who's been gone for 2.5 years. And if
Oh,
somebody wasn't watching over it, there'd be somebody getting unemployment in his name.
right, right, right. And that's dangerous, and it costs, I mean, costs all of us money, and
Right, right.
that's bad.
Mhm. It's
Um, so while we're sort of on the COVID, anything special we should know about? You're going into homes with COVID, I'm sure with all the COVID safety and
Yeah. So we can still do in-person visits. We try to keep them shorter than we used to, and we wear masks now. We're double masking, and gloves, and we bring hand sanitizer, and we try to keep social distance while.
hmm
And we do self-monitoring. So before one of my client advocates goes to a client's home, they fill out a form that I get that says they don't have any of the symptoms, they haven't been exposed, and they call the client to make sure the client can say the same.
Okay.
Only after filling out that form, then they can go do the visit. We're very, very careful. But
That,
if a visit isn't possible because some of our people live in senior communities that aren't allowing people in, we can pick up mail. Like they can leave a stack of papers in an envelope for us at the front desk, and we'll pick
oh,
it up. We can, with anyone, we can work remotely through Zoom, through email. Anybody who wants to do that, and a lot
who
of our
wants,
clients do. A lot of our younger clients are all
right. Right. So tell us about your younger clients. Give us a profile of what a younger client looks like.
So what's really been prevalent since the pandemic began is that people are extremely busy. Like work has just gone off the rails for certain
Mm,
industries. And on the other side of it, they have their kids at home doing e-learning.
right.
They just have by the time they're done working and taking care of the kids and helping the kids with homework and
Very.
all the normal daily things, they don't have any bandwidth left to start looking at their finances and their bills and keeping on top of things. And if you have multiple kids, you have
Yeah.
multiple doctor's appointments and orthodontia and all those things. And it's a lot to keep track of. So we have started working with a lot of busy families. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and that we do all remotely to fit into their schedule, and maybe, we send them like a weekly summary of what's been going on,
Right.
stay on track and make sure all their bills are paid and
That's very interesting, but I can totally see that. If you've got a bunch of kids and you're working, it's just too much.
too
You
much.
have no downtime. So this is something that you can have a trusted source to go to. You know it's going to be done right, and you,
Yeah, and I always say in the end, we save you money, we kind of pay for ourselves because we find things on your credit card. Everybody has something that they signed up for thinking it was a one-time charge, and before you know it, you've got a subscription. And if
yes.
you're really looking at your credit card,
Hmm.
you won't realize. And then if you're really busy, you may know it's there, but not have the time to call and cancel it.
And it's a pain in the neck to do that as well.
It is, exactly. It's time. It's like it's almost
Yes.
$30 a month to not make the phone call.
Right.
So they're the
Right.
things we'll take care of for you.
But they add up. They add up to, they could be 125 a month, and now that's over $1,000 a year. And
Wasting,
yeah,
unknowingly in many cases. Also, a lot of times there's fraud on your credit card. And then there's things like we might look at your cable bill and say, why are you paying that much? Because when you sign up, they give you a deal. And then a year later, they hike up your rate. And again, you don't remember to call and negotiate a better rate.
and I'm just thinking about this because you see so many of them
Mhm.
that well, the Comcast bill should be such and such, and then I pay a Sling. This guy's on Sling and he has all these channels, and he's paying 1/8 of that. So you sort of it just subconsciously able to compare what's going on.
Right. And one of the great things about us working with so many clients is exactly what you said, is we learn all these things. And the fact that there's 13 client advocates, we share information, we have meetings, and they all share everything with me. So if one of them calls me and says, my client has this issue and I'm not sure what to do, I can say, oh, well, this person just dealt with that and put them
Right,
and they
right,
figured
right. That's really good. So certainly withhold, keeping everybody HIPAA safe, but you're just talking about the example that we saw this fraud thing come through, or we saw,
we never share anyone's identity.
right. Just making that 100% clear.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. Another
So,
other
uh-huh.
demographics for us is like life transitions, somebody who is going through a divorce or became widowed and they weren't the financial person in the marriage, and it's totally overwhelming. And there's so many emotions involved too.
Hmm.
So those are good clients for us too that we work with and help them. And we don't, in those cases, we don't have to stay involved forever. We can teach them and empower them to do it for
For
themselves.
them to,
Hmm.
that's good. And then can you give them reports too? Are you able to?
Yeah. We usually set them up in some kind of software system. Every client has a different idea of how they want to do things. So
Okay.
we don't have a template that we use for every,
Okay.
customized to what the client wants and needs.
Okay.
So we do find a way, with each client to keep track of everything and provide reports. And then we provide the reports to their accountants as well.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah, help them get their tax documents together and
That's huge.
yeah,
That's huge.
yeah.
Yeah.
Another big issue is donations, and this is also in every age group. Once you make a donation, that charity will send you something every month and they'll sell their list to others too. And so when the same charity is sending you something, you start to doubt yourself. Wait, I thought I gave money to that charity, but maybe I meant to and I didn't do it. Let me write the check. And you do it again. Before you know it, you've given them more than you meant to. So we help keep track of that. And we recommend, kind of holding off on making your donations and comparing all of them and deciding how much you can give and then figuring it out that way. But
Yeah.
track of it so we can give it to your accountant as well.
Right. My mom was one of those people that gave, I don't know, $5, $25. She had it was like a full-time job to organize her donations. And it was mind-boggling.
Mhm.
So I totally know what you're talking about.
And then another thing we're promoting right now is a new adult package. So as our kids graduate from college and start working, why not set them up right and teach them from the beginning how to maximize their benefits, their 401k, how to budget. How much can you afford to pay for your apartment? Can you really afford to go out every night for dinner? Like let's look at all of that. Can you set yourself up electronically for your payments? How do you look at your bank account? You should be checking your credit card statement every month. We can work with them for 1 or 2 months alone.
Just to get them, I think that's a great idea. That is what a good gift for college graduation, guys. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because they don't know, they also didn't grow up in a time where things were so tight, like my parents were very
Right.
frugal. Now it's just, they just see credit cards passing back and forth.
Money. It doesn't
Uh-huh.
mean anything, but
Right.
hopefully it will.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. So that is necessity is the mother of invention, certainly with your businesses. So, well, I want to thank you so much, Jackie. This was great. This is all good information. So anybody that wants to get in touch with Jackie, I have your phone number on here. They can text me, they can text you, they can send us a private message, anything, just get in touch with one of us. This will be on my YouTube channel and on my website as well. So
Facebook.
Anybody that's looking for bookkeeping, financial help, call Jackie, call me, and I'll call Jackie. So, all right, everybody, have a great week. Take care. Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.